every partnership is important. Every partnership is a potential bridging block to many other partnerships. And a summit in AMTZ would bring together close to 100 manufacturers, traders, distributors, close to 200 buyers, close to 200 users and patients.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Yesterday there was a very interesting talk on IT, and it was very interactive and very interesting. And most of the topics that have happened here, which I attended, all of them that I attended, were very engaging, very insightful, and yes, absolutely, they help us even open our horizon.
So we have been part of many events, trade events, or events specific to particular specialities, but then this is Healthscape is definitely stands tall in regards to the concept, because here the doctors whom we don't get to meet for months together, or they don't give us more than 5 minutes, they are here captive for two whole days, and then they have all the time to talk to us, get to understand the technology. So this is unique format, and all you people from ID, you really make sure that the buyers and suppliers are comfortable, they are here, and they get whatever they have come here for. And then hospitality, as the food was fantastic, the venue is nice.
We have attended different kind of events. We have attended a lot of exhibitions before, like there are a lot of HVAC exhibition happens in India. But this one, I must say something for kind of a speed dating you guys arrangement. The way the customers came and discussed with us, even though we met only 20-25 customers, these were the right customers, you know. All these exhibition we have seen people coming and just talking to and asking for some pens or some bags or something. Very rarely we get an actual customer who is really interested in what we sell and what product. But here I think you guys have got the right note. I should appreciate IDE for the kind of thing you're doing, which is absolutely different. To be honest with you, I've never seen something like this.
I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of owners from hospital, a lot of architects. I would suggest this experience to other companies because it's a very direct way to have great potential contact with many people, and you can know a lot of information about the market. This is my first visit in India, and I think it is important to know as much as information as you can from a new market.
Earlier, initially, when we started the entire process, our team was skeptical, and some of us also didn't believe in the entire concept itself. But then your team was really helpful. Everyone was very helpful right from the day one. They handheld us throughout the process. Their guidance really helped us extract the maximum benefit out of it.
I think what impresses me the most about this particular Healthscape GCC Summit was here in Dubai was the quality of the attendees that I had the opportunity to meet with.
I think that the format is particularly effective because you've got some speakers who are bringing some interesting concepts, and then the opportunity to have the one-on-ones in networking where you can have quieter, more personal discussions. I found that particularly useful. So yeah, I'd certainly come again.
A lot of the other ones were bigger, but you're also so busy that you don't have time to talk to everybody, and you don't know who's who. You don't know who's real, who's not. You got the tire kickers that come around, and they're just looking for free samples. They'll come back 10 times, take up your whole day, and 3 of the good interests walk by because you're busy. The nice thing about this, it is individual. You're meeting on an individual basis, and so that's always a nice thing that, you, like I say, you know who you're meeting with prior to, and you know that they're a serious buyer.
Well, I recommend to everyone to participate for this kind of events. I think they are really helpful. They will save your time, and you will meet extremely good potential people that you need to work with.
Every partnership is important. Every partnership is a potential bridging block to many other partnerships. And a summit in AMTZ would bring together close to 100 manufacturers, traders, distributors, close to 200 buyers, close to 200 users and patients.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Yesterday there was a very interesting talk on IT, and it was very interactive and very interesting. And most of the topics that have happened here, which I attended, all of them that I attended, were very engaging, very insightful, and yes, absolutely, they help us even open our horizon.
So we have been part of many events, trade events, or events specific to particular specialities, but then this is Healthscape is definitely stands tall in regards to the concept, because here the doctors whom we don't get to meet for months together, or they don't give us more than 5 minutes, they are here captive for two whole days, and then they have all the time to talk to us, get to understand the technology. So this is unique format, and all you people from ID, you really make sure that the buyers and suppliers are comfortable, they are here, and they get whatever they have come here for. And then hospitality, as the food was fantastic, the venue is nice.
We have attended different kind of events. We have attended a lot of exhibitions before, like there are a lot of HVAC exhibition happens in India. But this one, I must say something for kind of a speed dating you guys have arrangement. The way the customers came and discussed with us, even though we met only 20-25 customers, these are the right customers, you know. All these exhibition we have seen people coming and just talking to and asking for some pens or some bags or something. Very rarely we get an actual customer who is really interested in what we sell and what product. But here I think you guys have got the right note. I should appreciate ID for the kind of thing you're doing, which is absolutely different. To be honest with you, I've never seen something like this.
I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of owners from hospital, a lot of architects. I would suggest this experience to other companies because it's a very direct way to have great potential contact with many people, and you can know a lot of information about the market. This is my first visit in India, and I think it is important to know as much as information as you can from a new market.
Earlier, initially, when we started the entire process, our team was skeptical, and some of us also didn't believe in the entire concept itself. But then your team was really helpful. Everyone was very helpful right from the day one. They handheld us throughout the process. Their guidance really helped us extract the maximum benefit out of it.
I think what impresses me the most about this particular Healthscape GCC Summit was here in Dubai was the quality of the attendees that I had the opportunity to meet with.
The format is particularly effective because you've got some speakers who are bringing some interesting concepts, and then the opportunity to have the one-on-ones in networking where you can have quieter, more personal discussions. I found that particularly useful. So yeah, I'd certainly come again.
A lot of the other ones were bigger, but you're also so busy that you don't have time to talk to everybody, and you don't know who's who. You don't know who's real, who's not. You got the tire kickers that come around, and they're just looking for free samples. They'll come back 10 times, take up your whole day, and 3 of the good interests walk by because you're busy. The nice thing about this, it is individual. You're meeting on an individual basis, and so that's always a nice thing that, like I say, you know who you're meeting with prior to, and you know that they're a serious buyer.
Well, I recommend to everyone to participate for this kind of event. I think they are really helpful. They will save your time, and you will meet extremely good potential people that you need to work with.
every partnership is important. Every partnership is a potential bridging block to many other partnerships. And a summit in AMTZ would bring together close to 100 manufacturers, traders, distributors, close to 200 buyers, close to 200 users and patients.
Are we good to go? Right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Healthscape Summit 2018. Now, we know that the post-lunch session can be very tiring and very cumbersome sometimes. We know, the last place where you would want to be as a delegate is sitting in front of a conference, especially after lunch. So we're well aware of this. And that is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we have lined up an impressive list of speakers for you today, post-lunch. And you can be rest assured that the list of speakers that we have will keep you thoroughly engaged and will really shower you with amazing insights. In fact, one of our speakers, Dr. Sharma, walked in with one of those hard hats. Maybe it was an indication that we need hard hats ourselves to sort of shield ourselves from the immense knowledge that we will be gaining from in the next half an hour to 1 hour, because there's going to be so many insights that we'll actually be running for cover. We won't know what to do with it. So we know that post-lunch will be difficult, but this time the post-lunch session is going to be something that we should all look forward to. Having said that, let us begin the session with the ceremony of lighting of the lamp, which is an invitation for auspiciousness and goodwill. And to conduct the lighting of the lamp, I'd like to request our guests, starting with, of course, Dr. Jitendra Sharma. Also, Dr. P.V. Sudhakar, who is the Principal and Dean of Andhra Medical College, Dr. Kashpa Harit, who is the Assistant Director of the Quality Council of India, Mr. Harshal Narula, who is the Director of MedFresh, and of course, the Director of IDE, the one who's put this event together, Mr. Ganesh Babu. Can we please welcome you all onto the stage to do the lighting of the lamp. Also, Dr. Chandrasekhar and Mr. Nitin, as requested by Dr. Jitendra Sharma. Right, now that we have conducted the lighting of the lamp ceremony as a sign of auspiciousness and things to look forward to for the rest of the event, let us hear from the person who is in charge of this entire area. You just took a tour of the AMTZ. You must have seen how impressive the scale and the size of this facility is. And we're going to hear from the managing director of the CEO in charge of the AMTC, a person whom we have been working with very closely for the last several months to put this event together, and a person who is renowned all over the healthcare industry in India and even overseas as well. Dr. Jitendra Sharma, please help me welcome Dr. Jitendra Sharma onto the stage to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to AMTZ, Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. And those of you who have come from outside India, welcome to India. Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone is like India. It's not yet perfect, but it's growing very fast. It's not yet the best, but it's aiming high. It's not yet the excellent place for the sake of conveniences, but we are transforming ourselves at a pace which you would have realized this morning when you walked in, there were no pavers. When you walked out for lunch, most of you would have walked on pavers. And let me assure you that by evening, when you finish your session here and you walk out, there will be a pathway and a garden waiting to see you and wish you a good evening. You won't believe when I say that on 27th of September, and I take this opportunity to welcome my team, because my team is also sitting here for the first time, because it won't be wrong if I tell you that this conference center was built last night. And many of you who are visitors to this place for various scientific and medical activities, they are witness of the fact at the rate at which we are changing for the better positively. 27th of September this year, we started the excavation of this conference center 73 days ago. 2 days later, which is the 13th of December this year, we are hosting a WHO Global Forum on Medical Devices. You will hear a lot of rumble and bumble all around, but that's part of the scheme of things as of now. 27th of September, when we started this conference center building, the reason we did that, because on 25th of September, we were told that the WHO will be hosting a global medical devices forum, first time in India, usually held in Geneva. And in India, for medical devices, it seems we are the best place. And I'll tell you why we are the best place. And so on 27th September, we started building this convention center, which now can host about 2,200 people, still under construction, and will be completed tomorrow night at 11 p.m. This whole zone was a jungle. This whole campus of 300 acres, 8 kilometers area was a jungle on 3rd of January this year, 3rd January 2018. And today, we have India's first CT scan, India's first MRI, India's first linear accelerator, India's first many already rapid prototyped here. We are a place which has all those 18 industrial facilities that are required for medical devices production. And if there is one place in the world where all of it is there, in one campus, it is this place globally. The MedTech zone started as a response to a need. The need was, in last 4 years, we were part of designing a large number of public-private partnership programs on healthcare. National Dialysis Program, National Pathology Program, National Teleradiology Program, National Mobile Medical Unit Program, and so on and so forth. All under public-private partnerships. We now have cancer hospitals being set up in every district, all under public-private partnerships. So right from products to programs to hospitals and institutions, we have gone into public-private partnership mode, only to realize that if you were to look at a healthcare pie, the pie of healthcare, and split it into 4, the first pie will be real estate, the buildings and the land, the cost of which will never be our control, never will be in our control. The second pie is human resource, and we have human resource and quality, like we have an ABH representative here. We have other quality and human resource representatives here. That human resource costs will never come down. And we would never like it to come down, because we would never like our human resource to get paid less and less. We can only reduce the absolute number of human resources, and we can make our programs and designs cost effective. But none of us will like us and our families and our workers to be paid less. Which means the second pie of healthcare is also ruled out. The third pie is pharmaceuticals and vaccines, biological. Something on which India has achieved self-sufficiency and is now an exporter to the world. What is left is medical technology. So if you were to break the costs of healthcare into 4 pieces, the only piece which is not yet in the control of this country and the institutions and practitioners of healthcare in this country is the piece of medical technology. And that's why we created Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. Because medical technology production requires several high-cost industrial facilities which are not there in the country and are very few in the world. So in this zone, on 3rd of January, we decided that with the partnership of central government, state governments funding, which also gave us this land for a single rupee, we established this company under this state government called Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone as the holding company, and created a bunch of institutions, a large bunch of institutions, a tree of institutions. Today, this zone has close to 80 medical technology companies. It has world's largest 3D printing facility. Some of you must have gone into it. It's still under making. It was built in 156 days. The largest scientific 3D printing facility. And 3D printing is a subject on which we still do conferences. We don't use it. We are still talking about it. And world's largest 3D printing facility with 39 3D printers somewhere in the US. And Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone in India has a 3D printing facility which has 89 3D printers. Nowhere close. We are now on the verge of printing cochlear implants and printing screws and plates from the CT scans of patients. We have world's largest biomaterial printers. We then have most of the electronic medical devices need electromagnetic interference testing, electromagnetic compatibility testing. We now have one of the world's largest EMI/EMC lab. India does make few implants, but we don't have a single implant testing lab or an accelerated aging system or a biomaterial testing facility. We now have India's largest and Asia's biggest biomaterial testing lab. We now have the only gamma irradiation plant in India which is dedicated to medical devices, 3 million Curie cobalt source. We now have world's 4th and Asia's 2nd CT scan tube manufacturing facility right next to us, getting inaugurated in 2 days, built in 183 days. Now, all this is done to bring not something which we call ornamentally as jugaad. No, we are not jugaadis. We are not garbage industries. We are not copiers, and we are not photocopiers. We are change agents as a country. We are change agent as a nation. And when it comes to healthcare, we are here writing the medtech story of India. And we are writing it grandly. Welcome to the medtech capital of India. Welcome to a place where 194 countries will be converging 2 days from now in this very conference center, hosting the first WHO Global Medical Devices Forum in this country. Welcome to the place which has brought in not just a bunch of scientific infrastructure, but now we have 2 incubators, one funded by Niti Aayog, which is known as Medi Valley, another funded by Ministry of Science and Technology, which is known as Bio Valley, both Section 8 companies in themselves with their own boards. And these incubators are the largest incubators in the country for medtech, largest incubators. Before even they get inaugurated, day after tomorrow, they have 22 incubatees applicants, and 14 of them selected, instruments ordered, board constituted, and pitch events held across the country. Then comes the human resource. Our biomedical engineers cannot go to any place other than some countries in the African continent to install a CT scan machine, even if they make it. And the reason they cannot go is in these countries, the profession of biomedical engineering is a regulated profession. So you need a license to practice biomedical engineering there. Otherwise, you cannot. Hence, our innovators and producers are forced to tie up with distributors which make them cost ineffective. What we needed? the country needed a skill certification and regulation program for medical technology sector. Once again, we created it. The Indian Biomedical Skill Council was founded here and operates from here for the country, with close to 50 assessment centers across the country, licensing biomedical engineering practitioners, close to 250,000, 2.5 lakh biomedical engineers, working from manufacturing units to hospitals, from sales to R&D, from pathology to radioisotopes. We have 2.5 biomedical engineers who cannot practice this science outside India. And we broke that biggest non-tariff barrier, which inhibits our innovators to go outside, seeking market. Then to qualify for international tenders, especially those that are funded under UN programs, you need a WHO pre-qualification. India didn't have a single WHO pre-qualification cell to support manufacturers. India's first WHO pre-qualification cell was set up here. We then set up the Master Blaster Institution, now known as Kalam Institute of Health Technology. You would have seen the picture of Dr. Kalam even on this conference center. That was erected in 17 days. Kalam Institute of Health Technology now serves the government of India, close to 7 national ministries, departments, on all purposes of medical technology. So if you reduce the basic customs duty on spare parts and components that are used to make this helmet, you can actually increase manufacturing of this helmet in India by close to 17%. In medical technology sector, the basic customs duty on spares and components was 7.5%, and that on finished product was 2.5%. That the duty on spares and components was reduced to 2.5, and that on finished product was increased to 7.5. That was done primarily out of the recommendations and work that happens here. If you were to innovate a product in India, the pendency with the patents cell is close to 8 years. So when you file your provisional patent, it takes 8 years for it to get examined whether it is worthy of being accorded a patent or not. By then it would be too late in medical technology, we all know. So reduce the patent dependency time from 8 years to less than 8 months. The Controller General of Patents set up a dedicated cell for biomedical engineering sector, and that is here. The government marketplace, which regulates and supports and facilitates public procurement and tenders for all the states in India and all the public sector institutions in India, for all sectors, didn't have a focal point for health. The entire medical technology work of government marketplace, Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry happens from here. And that is why we are medical technology capital of India. Because if you are a startup, if you are a distributor, if you are a producer, if you are a R&D specialist, if you are an incubatee, if you are a radioisotope nuclear scientist, anything to do with medical technology, from procurement to incubation, from R&D to manufacturing, from EMI, EMC test to gamma plant, from CT scan tube to 3D printing. In medtech, India has an answer now. And that answer is Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone, Kalam Institute of Health Technology, and group of institutions that we have created. It took about 10 months to create these bunch of institutions, to do these specifications, R&D, work, procurement, tendering of all the labs and construction and everything. And we built this zone in 342 days. Today is 338th day. 3 more days to go. And this has been possible because of 4 things. One, of course, the grace of God, whom we thanked when we lighted the first lamp in this convention center, prayed for purity, progress, peace, and protection to all. The second reason being the tremendous support of the state government, especially the Chief Minister of the state, whom you all know to be one of the most progressive individuals, the man behind IT, the man behind biotechnology, the man who picks up sectors and creates an helps people create an ecosystem. This entire land of 300 acres to be given in 1 rupee to a national cause was a tremendous gesture. To the central government departments like Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Department of Commerce, Department of DIPP, Department of Pharma, you name it, and most of the departments have helped us. That's number 2. That's number 3, the central government departments. Then the tremendous support of industry, and I see some of you all smiling because we all know how much we have covered. Before even a manufacturers take a place here, or an R&D specialist take a place here, we create programs for them. We create programs because we know it is not just our desire to see India progressing in medtech, it is our responsibility to generate market for them. 2 small examples. There is only one company in the world that makes the as of now, the most accurate and most fastest test for tuberculosis diagnostics. The owner and the founder of that company is amongst us. Before even they thought of coming here and boosting their national production and becoming international, we created close to a program that now diagnoses TB using RT-PCR technology, first time used in India, rapid transcriptase polymerase chain reaction technology for diagnosis of tuberculosis. And now we have 300 centers being operated in this state alone. Another supplier who came to us with a novel kit for thalassemia detection. And we all know that thalassemia, electrophoresis or HPLC, the large hospitals that have the capacity to test thalassemia, they wait for samples. They wait for 70 or 80 samples, and that delays the test. But even if you were to not delay the test and do this test immediately, what would you gain after doing the test? The child is already thalassaemic. All you can do is transfuse blood the whole life. When this innovator came to us, we created a program wherein we introduced thalassemia detection in marriage registration offices. We know that thalassemia is a genetic disorder, so when the couple comes for registration, you test them for thalassemia in marriage registration offices and not in hospitals. And then you genetically counsel them. If both of them carry a thalassaemic trait, you encourage them to adopt a child. You eradicate the disease. Even in the tuberculosis program, the Stop TV in Geneva complimented us because we used a novel procurement methodology. Suppose you were to supply me as government, you were to supply me as HIV kits. I freeze the rate for 5 years. But by supplying me HIV kits, you are actually helping me control the disease. When I control the disease, the requirement of test kits goes down. Have I not penalized you for helping me? Has the system not penalized the maker for actually helping the system control a disease? Yes, we have. And hence, in this tuberculosis diagnostics program, that the cost of test per annum paid to the supplier will be increased at 25% of the rate of decline of disease in the state. So you bring the decline of disease by 10% and you gain 2.5% on cost per test. You convert a supplier into a partner of care without penalizing them. Right from innovative programs to infrastructure to support those programs were created in less than 18 months, and the infrastructure was created, as I said, today is the 338th day. We talk in days, not in years. Because we know patients' lives, when they get diagnosed with cancer or tumor, they don't talk in years. But if we were to plan a program or a project or an institution or a building, we talk in years. We make better become enemy of the good. So 3 things that tremendously helped us, guided us, blessed us. One was the grace of God. Second was the commitment and support of the national and the state government. The third was the partnerships with our manufacturers, innovators, incubators, R&D specialists, and scientific service providers. And the fourth thing, which was the pivot of doing what we did, was the team of AMTZ and Kalam Institute. A bunch of 60 people who left their jobs for a lesser salary, who left their cozy life, who left their 8 hours work, who left everything that was dear and near to them. Some left actually their husbands in Delhi or somewhere to be here for a short time. Some actually left their families and wife in Pune or Mumbai and came here, joined us. And that team, miraculous team of 67, bunch of 70 people, created this history. So all I'm going to request is, I know that some of my team members are still working in factories and R&D labs and food courts and whatever, but all those of you are here, please stand up. And what I will request the audience is, for what they have done for the country in medical technology, making this place the medtech capital of India and trying to make India the medtech capital of the world, a big round of sincere, gratitude-filled applause. My team can stand up, please. The team from Kalam Institute and AMTZ can stand up, please. Thank you very much. 13th to 15th of December, we are hosting the Global Medical Devices Forum. This conference center will be much better by night and much, much better by tomorrow afternoon and grand by tomorrow evening. That's how we work. We build every factory in 68 days. We build lab in 150 days. We don't wait for months. This place will be much, much smoother. I also place my humble apologies for some inconveniences that you might have all encountered. The toilets are, at the moment, you still see a lot of concrete here and there. The paver block was not fully laid. There were small inconveniences, but these inconveniences are for today. By tomorrow, they are going to fade away. But what will not fade away is the grand work that India would be doing for the global community. Jai Hind.
Dr. Sharma, can we please have you on the stage just for a moment longer? And ladies and gentlemen, I think Dr. Sharma deserves a huge heartfelt round of applause for showing us that we are not copiers and photocopiers, but we are trying to be change agents. And I think, as you said, you are the shining light that will help us, that will help catapult our nation toward being one of the leaders in the med tech space. So thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. Can we please have you back on the stage? And as a token of our appreciation for spending your valuable time with us, and we say that a lot, your valuable time, but you are in the midst of actually organizing this huge conference later this week with the WHO. There are going to be thousands of delegates. There must be so many things going on, and in spite of all of this, you are still spending your time with us this afternoon. So we greatly appreciate that, and thank you so much for that. May I welcome our director Ganesh to come on the stage and hand you a small memento as a token of our appreciation.
Nitin Bharadwaj, the Director and Vice President AMTZ, to say a few words.
Yes.
And Poonam ji will come
a little late.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Dr. Sharma has also requested that Dr. Nitin Bharadwaj please come on the stage and expand a little bit more on the vision of the AMTZ. Nitin Bharadwaj is of course the director of the AMTZ, and we'd like to hear from you, Nitin. What is the vision of AMTZ and what is it that is on your mind?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Sharma, you never fail to surprise, as that's your nature. First of all, apologies to everybody for the shabby presence which I'm displaying right now. It's because heading off directly from the field. I have not been told about this, so I will just take maybe a minute or so. Really want to thank all of you to be here. We really feel very, very proud, very grateful that on the very first conference in this grand conference center, we have the privilege to host you. Thank you so much for being here, and do forgive us for the small inconveniences which you might have faced. AMTZ is a dream which started with Dr. Sharma. He percolated down that spirit to us, and we feel, I mean, he kept on saying that we sacrificed and all that, but actually that's nothing. We feel so very proud to be associated with this lifetime project. Just being associated with this project gives us the feeling of lot of satisfaction. Every night when we sleep for a couple of hours, that satisfaction takes over. I mean, whatever sacrifices we may call it, they have no place at all. Our whole endeavor is that as a country, we are already late. We just don't have time. So whatever our gods, our manufacturers need for this ecosystem to work, be it regulations, be it certifications, be it skilled manpower, be it lending support from financial institutions, being it infrastructure, our single pointed endeavor, or you may call it vision, is to provide them that ecosystem. Our existence is only for that. Thank you so much once again, and apologies for any inconvenience if you might have had. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you would have noticed, like all of us, that one of the themes in Dr. Sharma's speech was transforming the way the world perceives India when it comes to medical technology and the manufacturing of medical devices. And it's this transformation theme that we will continue into our next item on the agenda. We were supposed to have Dr. Poonam, who's the Health Secretary of the Government of Andhra Pradesh, to be with us, but she's going to be late, so we will skip that for a later time at the agenda. And we're now going to move on to the panel discussion, which is about the user-driven transformation of healthcare. We, in fact, have a video to explain a little bit more about this panel discussion. Can we roll that video, please? So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the panelists. So please help me welcome on the stage Dr. Umain John, Dr. Umain John, Dr. Kashipa Harit, Mr. Chaitanya Shravant, and Dr. P.V. Sudhakar. Can we please welcome you on the stage? And of course, our moderator to tell us more about the user-driven transformation of healthcare, Mr. Rajshekhar Channapredi.
Can you just help me out with this? Can you help me out? Which one? Are you going to be here?
Very good morning. Mr. Jitendra Sharma, Dr. Jitendra Sharma gave a very good opening speech. It couldn't have been better. He was talking about change. I think even in the medical field, before I start the panel discussion, just wanted to excite you, take the journey from where Jitendra had left. Can we have the slide, please? We're talking about change. The whole industry has changed. And then the question, what we have been seeing is there are different types of industries, and different types of industries need different types of processes and different types of customer satisfaction, different types of measures and quality. So where are we? Just wanted to get you energized and activated. Which industry do we belong to? The age-old industry, we started with the commodities. We extracted, and the mankind started selling it. Then we had the goods industry, where we were adding value and manufacturing. A lot of us are familiar. Then came the service industry in the 80s and 90s in India, where we saw that we needed quality. When a BPO used to call, or a credit card company used to call, or any kind of a service, we started applying the rules of manufacturing to service industry. But the service industry rules were totally different. You cannot have warranties and guarantees like what is due in a product or in a manufacturing goods industry. So when BPO, ITO, and services industry started booming in India, I have a colleague here who is from the service industry, quality person, Dr. Kashipa. She comes from the organization called NABH, which lays down the foundation for hospitals. What should be the quality, how do we operate, and everything. But the KPIs and the KRS of the industry are totally different from manufacturing. So it had to be adapted. So if we ask about 100 people in the country and do a survey, what kind of industry we are, 90% of them say it's a service industry. The question is, are we really the service industry? I believe we are not in a service industry. The industry has changed. The patient is no longer a patient today. Patient has become a consumer. The consumer has become a customer. Today, when you don't get a service, you can sue them. So it's not the trust and faith of the doctor. The barriers and the walls of the hospital have changed. A few years, a decade back, when somebody had a orthopedic surgery or a trauma coming out from a stroke, it was just limited to medicines and getting them out discharged. The end point was the discharge summary. Today, when somebody has a paralytic attack, the end point is not the discharge summary, it is the rehabilitation. And today, to 360-degree care, the rehab centers are merging in, becoming a part of the hospital. The palliative care is coming into the hospital. The boundaries and the walls of hospitals and healthcare are dramatically changing. So I believe there is a new industry, and then there is a lot of debate going on in the US and Europe. We believe the industry is an experience industry. Next slide. If you look at it, I'll just spend some time to set the context as to why we have got to think differently. And then my panel members, experts in the field, will give their vision as to which direction we should move. So, do we call a movie industry an entertainment industry? How many people would agree that movie is an entertainment industry? Can I have a rise of hands, please? Wonderful. Entertainment industry. A tragedy movie, is it entertaining? No. A comedy movie is entertaining. So it's not an entertainment industry, it's an experience industry. When you go to a movie theater, if somebody asks you, what was the turnaround time? Did you get your seat exactly, seat number 22? Do you care? Did you get your seat in time? What are the access lights when you are passing to get your popcorn lighting on? Is it a measure of the experience of the movie? No. Definitely no. It's an experience is a different metrics. This is a different paradigm. So a movie industry could be tragedy, could be comedy, could be an action. Likewise, people go to amusement parks. It's again another type. So is it fun? Somebody makes a mission and a vision statement saying that we get fun to your lives. Bungee jumping, is it fun or is it scary? You hold your heart in your mouth, in your hand, and then jump. Parajumping, jumping for a plane, it's on the wish list, bucket list of people, they want to do it. So this is an experience industry. I'm trying to get you all to point that hospitality, all these things are experience industry, where we are dealing with the emotional quotient and the emotional needs of the people, just not the physical and the medical needs of the time. The industry is shifting and drifting drastically, and we got to be sensitive about that. So just moving on, what would happen if we don't treat the hospital industry as an experience industry? What we did with the goods and manufacturing to the service, we are doing the same thing, applying the roles on regulations and the norms of quality measures of the service industry to the experience industry. And we would be getting it wrong. So I will prove you, here you're trying to put a square into a triangle into a square. Let's look at it differently, is urge that from this healthcare summit. Here there are some quick examples. Disney is an experience industry. Disney's mission statement is getting fun to the family. They want to get that entertainment to the family together. They are meeting the emotional needs at the time of joy and fun. A hospital on the other side, just like a tragedy movie, they are meeting the emotional needs in stress and in distress and illness. So we are addressing the same emotional quotient on two spectrums. One is the left spectrum and the other spectrum. So we should be sensitive about which particular industry. A hospital and a healthcare provider not having the experience quotient will be Disney without fun. That's the summing statement. And then to give some examples, we all make vision statements, mission statement. The topic of today is, what is the patient experience? What does the patient want? Does the patient know what he wants is the question. Is the patient or is he a consumer, is he a customer? Are you only taking the needs of the patient? Is it good enough? When a pregnant woman walks into the hospital, it is not the woman alone. You have to take care of the husband, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister's needs. When somebody is suffering with cancer and the terminally ill, you are not taking care of not only the patient, but the people who are attendants. The feedback mechanism, what we are using in today's paradigm, the tools which we are using, asking how quick was it, how fast was it, what was your discharge time, all these things, they are not. Let me look at some oxymorons. Clearly misunderstood. How can clearly be misunderstood? This is as good as being affordable and excellent. You would see these two words in most of the hospitals, healthcare providers. Affordable, excellent healthcare will be provided, and manufacturers and everything. So it's clearly. Cruel kindness. Is there something called cruel kindness? Doesn't exist. But that's exactly what we are talking about. Being ethical, being truthful, and being empathetic. How can you be empathetic if you are brutally honest and tell that you will die today? So how can be cruel kindness, how can empathy, truthful, and ethicalness be there? Act naturally. How can acting be natural, and how can natural be acting? So we are talking about compassion and transparent. So we are in this new world of new paradigm where the world is posing us new challenges. And me and my colleagues who are here with a ton of experience, we will try to answer you. Do we have the solutions? We will not. But we will try to give you the insights of which direction we are moving. So here, one of the key things, what does the customer want? And as per patient-centric or customer-centric, how do we do that? But how do we measure customer centricity? How do we measure patient centricity? There is something which a patient needs, and what the patient wants, and what the patient asks are three different words. The patient needs medicine. The patient doesn't want medicine. The patient is asking for something else. Now, only God can help. Medicine, I don't know how it will help, but that's the world we are here. We are talking about measurable quality measurement, appreciative quality, and the third one is the perception. Today, half of the time we are dealing with perception measurement. That's where the quality norms and the walls and the barriers and the new phenomena of patient centricity would come in. Here, some of the examples. So, Doctor, you would help me with the challenges here. Our measurements today, a hospital is supposed to be good, is waiting time. See the pity. If you want to just walk in and walk out, you have to have a doctor who is free. An experienced doctor, will he be free? No. A junior doctor will be free. An experienced doctor, there will be a long line. Should you be measuring this parameter at all? Is it the waiting time or is it the patient engagement time which is more important? So let's look at new way what is important, what is core to medical and healthcare and the patient centricity. We're talking about courtesy. Are we really, we want to be courteous or we want to be transparent and truthful? We have got to decide. So that's one thing what we have. Or we want to integrate. Next, facilities. What facilities? It's a very, very loose terminology. There are lots of colleagues from medical facilities, infrastructure facilities, architects, and the father of medical architecture, Dr. Chandrasekhar, is also here. What facilities are we talking about? People, when complain about facilities, are they talking about medical facilities which has got a implication and an impact on the medical care? Food and drinks, cafeteria, parking, it has got no connection with the medical treatment or the wellness of the people. So I'll not. So to do and get a different result, just like what Jitendra Sharma and others have done, we have to do a different thing or we have to do it differently. So this session, do not expect the normal, expect to hear abnormal things, because we will be taking up challenges which have to be done differently, dealt with differently, so that we get different results. Now, I would give the floor to Dr. Kashipa Harit. The general format I was suggested to have a round table of questions, but her topic is so broad and so big, it would be very difficult to grasp anything. To set the context, we will, in her 8 minutes, we will give her 4 minutes to give a background about how quality impacts and what they are doing, what should be done in industries to get patient centricity, and then we will move on to the question answer session. Yes, that's all. Yeah.
Very good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Hello. Very good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Jitendra Sharma, Dr. Shishir, and the organizers for conducting such a fantastic conference within the AMTZ. And it is one of its kind experience. And also, I would like to, in this were got burned in the incubator, because the information was such, it traveled within the whole country within a fraction of a second. So the communication aspect. So keeping the communication aspect as well in mind, and the user and thing.
Dr. Kashima, can we get back to one now?
Right. So just to wind up, the user transformation has helped the healthcare in both pros and cons. We need to find a way somewhere in the middle at how we can take this into our consideration and make it in a more positive way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we will go back to our round. First, and please, can you, yeah, please, yeah. One, what we have seen is the changing role and the growing role of a patient in a healthcare. So I would start with Dr. P.V. Sudhakar, the principal of Andhra Medical College, to give his insights on what has the new economy, the digital economy driving the patient, and what's his perspective about patient and the education aspect of.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Jitendra Sharma, Mr. Shishir, and Dr. Janapareddy Raj. This afternoon, we are discussing the various aspects of the quality. So whatever is being discussed here is primarily aimed at the quality of care. We all know that there are 4 levels of satisfaction or dissatisfaction. The number 1, the level 1 is the patient is happy and the doctor is happy. That's what we all look forward for, both in terms of treatment as well as in terms of providing the services. The level 2 is the patient or the customer or the client, whatever we call, is happy, but the doctor feels that something more could have been done. That the level 2, it's quite acceptable. Level 3 is something
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Yesterday there was a very interesting talk on IT, and it was very interactive and very interesting. And most of the topics that have happened here, which I attended, all of them that I attended, were very engaging, very insightful, and yes, absolutely, they help us even open our horizon.
So we have been part of many events, trade events, or events specific to a particular specialties, but then this is Healthscape is definitely stands tall in regards to the concept, because here the doctors whom we don't get to meet for months together, or they don't give us more than 5 minutes, they are here captive for two whole days, and then they have all the time to talk to us, get to understand the technology. So this is unique format, and all you people from ID, you really make sure that the buyers and suppliers are comfortable, they are here, and they get whatever they have come here for. And then hospitality, as the food was fantastic, the venue is nice.
We have attended different kind of events. We have attended a lot of exhibitions before, like there are a lot of HVAC exhibition happens in India. But this one, I must say something for kind of a speed dating you guys arrangement. The way the customers came and discussed with us, even though we met only 20-25 customers, these were the right customers, you know. All these exhibition we have seen people coming and just talking to and asking for some pens or some bags or something. Very rarely we get an actual customer who is really interested in what we sell and what product. But here I think you guys have got the right note. I should appreciate ID for the kind of thing you're doing, which is absolutely different. To be honest with you, I've never seen something like this.
I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of owners from hospital, a lot of architects. I would suggest this experience to other companies because it's a very direct way to have great potential contact with
other technology
many people.
providers are leveling this information asymmetry. Is able to press on his phone and say, I need a car to go there. He's hungry, he's able to press again on his phone and he's getting food delivered.
Great.
Healthcare industry has got to evolve.
I'll take a standing posture that makes me see all the panelists. One. So where I am alluding to, the first point, the point of entry is when the patient enters or before even entering, how do you choose a doctor? How do you choose a healthcare center? So some of the things have come that we have got to educate our patient base, consumer base, what to go for which particular ailment. So probably we shouldn't be calling oncologists, endocrinologists, or urologists, or rheumatologists. We should have common English or Telugu or Hindi words which relate to the keywords. So the keyword searching of the doctors perhaps. So we have to communicate as a healthcare service provider in a language which is common to others so they can pick up. Number 2, there is a quality level set what we have. How do you, in OYO or Ola or something, we have been conducting our lives. We have been booking hotels, we have been booking train tickets, we have been booking flight tickets and hotel rooms and taxis. And we also know which driver is good, which driver is not so good. So here, thanks to the Google and the internet technology, in Google in very loosely terms, I think we have got to give access to our patients and the healthcare where they can rate our services qualitatively and quantitatively. It will be better if we can rate it much more scientifically so people can choose 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. In Zomato or Ola or OYO or Make My Trip the way we do it, I think that's going to become the order of the day. So before reaching that stage, healthcare providers need to design their systems to make patients aware, customers aware of what the services they offer, and more importantly, not to dissatisfy them. It's very important, not what they don't do. This is what they not do is very, very important, not be over ambitious. So that's the starting point. Second point is the rating. Now, moving to the next question, patient centricity. What is patient centricity in the mind? I would like to ask you, what in your world, what in your mind is patient centricity? And once we know what is patient centricity, how do we subjectively or objectively or perceptively want to measure and level field it?
So, being the only technologist on the panel, or one of the technologists on the panel, I'll take a very technology-specific view to this. And also, I'll relate it to the hospital chain that we come from, right? So, as Cloud9 hospitals, the focus has been on saying that pregnancy is a wellness rather than an illness. When you say that, it becomes more of a retail story rather than a pure healthcare story. And hence, the way the entire organization is designed is right around the customer, so to say. So, besides just saying that there's an obstetrician, a radiologist who's taking care of the journey, we also have other counseling sessions like you were mentioning earlier, right? So there are ANC workshops, there are Lamaze classes, everything that you need to prepare yourself to be a mother kind of a thing. Now, when it comes in the technology domain or in the customer experience domain, one of the things that we realized, and just as you mentioned earlier, right? So you are dealing with consumers who are now used to Ola, Uber, on-demand service. They're not used to waiting somewhere. They will go and rate any place where they have a bad experience as bad as possible. So our approach was to say, how do we create the same experience in the hospital? And if I take the movie theater example that we were talking about earlier, in our opinion, the theater or the movie over in the hospital's case is the doctor. So the philosophy that we follow is that to make the customer experience the best possible and to have like proper customer centricity, all the non-value add items that the customer has to do on his way to the hospital, just remove them, right? He's coming to the hospital in the OP scenario primarily to meet a doctor. Everything else should be done at the click of a button. Basically, you do your billing from home, you book your appointments, you pay for them. If you have to collect your lab reports, all of them are available digitally kind of a thing. And that's precisely the entire paradigm around which I think healthcare is going to evolve, with consumers becoming more and more aware of the fact that they're missing out on so much as far as healthcare is concerned when they compare it to other services like an Ola cab or an Uber cab kind of a thing. And that's the approach that we've taken as such. I don't know if you agree with it, and specifically in our domain, it works better. So prior to this, I have been associated with other startups where we were trying to push technology to people who had chronic diseases, right? Somebody who's diabetic doesn't want to be reminded that he's diabetic. On the other hand, in some specific cases, for example, in pregnancy, patients do want to engage with the hospital in whatever technology format that you provide.
See, well covered. I mean, here, one of the things which comes right to my mind, you deal with maternity, it's a birthing place, Cloud9. Now, one of the things which most of the women or maternity hospitals is, what is that? We do delivery. We deliver babies, we give pregnant women, we deal with that. So, a pregnant woman walking into the hospital, primarily when you go to the hospital, the perception is somebody is sick, somebody is ill. Now, birthing is a lifetime experience. That's the only time. This hall is called APJ Abdul Kalam. And that great man said that that's the only time when the child cries, the woman smiles. That's the only time when a child cries, a mother smiles. Birthing is a lifetime experience. So people like the maternity homes and everything, we believe we should make birthing an experience, a lifetime memorable experience, not make them feel like they are sick. Some of the things we from our experience have done is to have an experience, you want the husband to be together as a companion in the thing. And the other hospitals, still they are following the traditional ways of patient, not like a customer. The patient center, they take care of the patient, give her the medicines, give her the milk, feed the baby, wash the baby clean. But the moment it's a consumer or a customer, you are looking at an experience quotient where you want the bonding of the father, mother and be together. That's what is the experience. It need not be movie, it need not be Hollywood or Bollywood, but that particular experience, the moment, the focus and the purpose is how do you make birthing a memorable lifetime experience. Your hospital and the infrastructure, everything is going to change. We have Dr. Chandrasekhar, who is an eminent personality in the healthcare space. He is a healthcare architect. We will hear from him tomorrow and his session. He was this morning narrating us that how AIIMS, one of them, where there are some thousands of people, they would need so many thousands of square meter of people, a waiting area in the OPD, how with the use of technology you can cut the barriers. So this new era, the new requirements of the patients, where they are seeing they're coming at the click of the button, they are getting the food at the click of the button, they expect this one. So our complete architecture, when I say architecture, it's not the hardware architecture, it's not the software architecture, it is the whole concept and the philosophy of healthcare has to be embedded. And Dr. Chandrasekhar was mentioning, when the scaffolding is there on the building, when it's built, you can put an AC, but can you clean that AC after that? You can't put a scaffold. So maintainability and operability is also something that has to be taken care. Like that, user experience. In software industry, there is a science called UI or UX, user experience. So there are specialists who only deal with user experience. The healthcare industry needs a speciality of user experience, creating this interface of user experience right from the beginning to the end. One example I'll give you and I'll come back to the question. Oberoi hotel chains, when Bhai Mohan Singh Oberoi entered into that, the back entrance where the people work in the five-star hotel was very dingy, sweaty and everything. When he became the president and the managing director, he said that if the moment I come out of the door, I have to look five-star, and when I go shut the door, there is no AC, I will be sweating and smelling. You don't want a waiter, steward or front office, the receptionist to be sweating and stinking. Then I have to create that in the back office also. So this way, if you want five-star, you have to have five-star also in the back end. So these are the kind of systems, support systems you have to create.
So could I give an example on this?
Yes.
So we, from George Institute, we are knowledge partners to the government of Andhra Pradesh, and we were evaluating the PPP dialysis program. And one of the things that we realized is that there is this concept by patient thinking that the reuse of the dialyzing element is affecting their dialysis. So it was really, all of the dialysis were actually functional, but there was no way of communicating to the patient that it is functional. So we just said that let us use visual cues, as in if it is in the green segment, it is still usable, no matter how many number of the, because what goes into your mind affects your body as well. If somebody knows that my dialyzer has been reused 5 times, because he's thinking that my dialyzer is no good, I don't experience the benefit of the dialysis. So this is something that the government has been able to implement. So simple things like this could be great experiences for the user experience.
Dr. Sudhakar, what do you think about how do you, in this modern era, how do we engage? If not, what is the as a scenario moving forward? How do we engage the patients and give them the comfort? Because it's a journey together. You need 2 hands to clap. You can't clap alone as a healthcare service provider. You need the hand of the patients to clap it together, consumer. What are your views and how would you move, especially government and medical college kind of setup, to engage with the patients and give them the experience?
So whatever we are talking so far, am I audible? Yeah, whatever we are talking so far is mostly looking at the private sector. So what basically restricts us when we go into the government sector is the numbers. Probably you'll have to treat more numbers wherein your standards automatically will drop down. So when we go to the government institutions, the budgetary allocations and the numbers are the numbers, that would be the limiting factors for us when we have to move ahead. So when it comes to the private, so as she said, and as you also emphasized, feedback is the best. Feedback is the broader word. You said that it's the consumer's experience and the expertise. But at the same time, we have to be very careful when we are drawing the attention of the consumer in order to judge us from their experience. Because I'll tell you a small anecdote, like he has also told us. One of my niece, she has asked me to suggest a dermatologist in Vijayawada. I know a very good dermatologist in Vijayawada. Immediately I told her to go to her. In 10 minutes time I get a phone call saying that, uncle, her rating is not good on the Google. So what do I do? It's basically questioning
Fantastic.
My power of judgment.
Dr. Sudhakar has touched the right point. This is exactly what I wanted to say. So now you are there. You are on the line, Dr. Kashyapa. You are the judge and the jury, and your job is to, as NABH people, to level set. And the standards are in place to judge that everyone, whether 3-star is a 3-star, and what to expect in 3-star, what to not to expect in 3-star or 5-star. So what is NABH's role and how will it set the level playing field and then give the right kind of a rating to choose a hospital or a doctor?
Fantastic question, sir. So basically, NABH standards, or for that matter, any quality standards in the world, they are primarily focused on systems, strengthening of the system. If we see the data of adverse events in the world, the primary blame goes on the doctor. But when we actually do the root cause analysis, it is the role of the doctor is only 1%. The main reason for any adverse event is the system weakening. That system can be human error, it can be generation error. Say for example, let's take a simple example of an adverse drug event. That adverse drug event can be from the dispensing point of view. It can be from the route of administration point of view. It may not be from the doctor's point of view as well. It can be maybe because the nursing staff has written a wrong way of spelling mistakes are there. Look-alike, sound-alike drugs. So idea is the benchmarking or the overall standards is basically to strengthen the system so as to decrease the errors, so as to increase the satisfaction. So how the satisfaction increases in the patient? Of course, the doctor is the main face. But at the end of the day, once we are talking about numbers and once we have our systems in place wherein even the 70% of the standards we comply with, and I'm not here mentioning only about NABH, be it any other standards that we can go for, I think when the systems are in place, automatically the processes are strengthened. And once the processes are strengthened, your output is good. And once the output is good, then what we are as doctors looking for is the outcome. Good. So that outcome tends to come up well. It's like number of children who are vaccinated. If the cold supply chain is maintained, automatically the end result is good.
Great statement. So what you are hearing and what you have heard from Dr. Kashyapa is very valid. But you sitting in the audience, just look at it from a customer's point of view. When you say, what is a hospital? Ask anyone, what is this hospital? First thing what comes to the people's mind is the building. And then comes the front office of people. But a hospital is not that, not building, not furniture. People say it's a hospital is good if it looks good, smells good, nice, 5-star. But it is, people can see the hardware, but people don't say the brainware and the software and the processware.
Yes.
And hardware is only about a 5%, 10% player. The doctor is not there. They beat up the doctor, but for no mistake upon the doctor. So here the level playing field is, I'll come back to the technology. Technology and data and information algorithms, they don't lie. People can lie. But data and information doesn't lie. Processes don't lie. We have taken an industry such an important. Today, if you manufacture a car, or manufacturing a TV, anywhere in the assembly line we can find out there is a mistake and we can say these many TVs in Taiwan, India, Japan, we can recall. Today, healthcare being such a mission critical thing, we can't recall. We can't even identify where in the process chain it has gone wrong. So technology is there, but unfortunately we are using technology in peripheral and superficial things. We are using technology to book appointments, which has got no outcome on how well the patient will get cured or not. We are using technology to take feedback. It has got no impact on how the patient is. I think technology has to be right. And if you're a chocolate manufacturer, you better put software and everything process in making chocolate. If you are a civil engineer and you're an architect, put it in the CAM where mistakes will be errored. So we have got to, instead of doing superficial things, we have to use technology to the core. So here I would like to have the technical panel to answer us. What is that we are going to do in technology so that the transparency and the consistency, whether it is A shift or B shift or C shift or Dr. A or Dr. B, we get consistently same results. What are you guys doing? Or industry, if it is not doing, what is that we should do?
So I'll take a go at it. So one of the things that, again, for the Andhra Pradesh government, that we were asked to develop the key performance indicators for dialysis centers. So what are the common things that, there are measurements in which you know what is the quality of dialysis. So that is one outcome that we were interested in, plus the patient's experience. So it is quality of life. How is he able to? So you might be going into a dialysis center for 2-3 days, 2 times a week. But if you're still not able to do your activities of daily living, it's of no good use. So can we incorporate that and start measuring and benchmarking between centers, benchmarking against international centers, and report them, make them public? So Chief Minister here has a dashboard where he sees on a monthly basis how are his dialysis centers doing. He is the CEO of the state. He, as a CEO, he is looking at outcomes on, and not only that, they have introduced a call center facility. So all patients who are undergoing the free dialysis program get random calls, ask how was your experience. So these are some of the things. The other thing that we've been working on is people with peritoneal dialysis. We've developed an app for them. So we show them visually how they are doing. So again, blood pressure 140/80, and we say that your blood pressure is high to a patient. What does high mean to him? But if you can show him this is the baseline, if this is the baseline, your heart is going to be well, whereas if it goes here, it's going to be pumping against pressure. So technology can help illustrate to a layperson what we want to communicate. So that I would think is the user experience.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
You just mentioned about recall. So how the industry, especially the car industry, has a very fantastic mechanism of car recalls. Like recently I got a message that your car has to be recalled by Toyota for change of airbags. Similarly, how the standards have evolved. In our, this I would say NABH standard, the latest standard that we have ensured that most of the accredited hospitals have a mechanism of recall. So recall is of equipment, recall is of furniture, recall is of drug. That has been emphasized from the accreditation point of view, that the hospital at least should now have a mechanism to have a system in place to recall how the batch number is noted, and even the furniture, say for example a small equipment, say for example the stools and the corner furniture which is being sent to the wards, how those can also be recalled. So this is a transformation from the previous healthcare setup wherein there was no concept of recall, and how that has been evolved to every aspect of recall, be it the consumer aspect within the hospital or the drugs or the equipments which are being used, and how are they being recalled, who's accountable for it. All that has been now in place within the system as well.
Thank you. Excellent. So, Sejir, how much time do we have? 6 more minutes? Okay. So, we talked about some of the things. We'll have one question, then I will try to wrap up. How do we increase the trust between the patient and the doctors or the healthcare providers? Today, the common words, what we hear is, hospitals have become commercial all over the country. Hospitals have become materialistic. hospitals have become a business, and the customer is having less and less trust, and doctors are in more and more pressure. They have to do more with less, or sometimes with nothing. In this situation, how do you build the trust and engage with them?
So actually, while we were speaking about it, I was just thinking about the example you gave, Doctor, about the rating on the platform, right? So I think overall in healthcare, there are two pieces. One is the quality of care, which in terms translates into outcomes, and the other one is the experience piece, right? So in your Google reviews, your Practo, you have plenty of people going and expressing their opinion and putting a rating against it. Now, the good part about it is that at some level it's experience being rated. On the other hand, the bad part is that typically the ones, not all the reviews are fair, so to say. As your experience says, one of the best dermatologists over there had a poor rating on the other hand. My view on this particular issue is that at some point of time, we as healthcare providers need to start opening up data, right? Which basically means that besides just the rating that you find on a Practo or Google review, you should be able to double click on a doctor and see what was the level of success, level of failure. When you go and ask a mother about how does she select a gynecologist, it typically happens through word of mouth. Yeah, and that typically means that some doctors will always be very busy and others will always be relatively free, which is partly, in my opinion, a root cause of a lot of these problems.
See, the whole thing is a more perception-based rather than a performance-based. It's become a perception-based industry rather than a performance-based industry. It's the prejudice-based industry rather than a performance-based. It is a more biased industry.
And Dr. Reddy, the solution to that, I think, is basically about all healthcare providers coming together and saying, look, we have the gall to be transparent in terms of what we are doing.
Great. Wonderful. So we have doctors from private, doctors from government, quality people who will do the level setting and pay the benchmark kind of a role, and we have technology people and NGO and social causes who are trying to be the change movers here. So let me wrap it up a bit here. So number one, this particular thing, when Shihir and the panelists called that we should be talking, we thought, what could we deliver? What is the takeaway we should have after going from here, this particular? Number one takeaway probably you should look at is healthcare industry is not anymore a service industry. It's an experience industry. Let's take home that. And the rules of manufacturing, warranties, guarantees don't apply here. The SLAs and TATs don't matter here, because somebody has got a cardiac pain, and if you say that in 5 minutes you've got to check him, if the doctor is not able to identify, is that 5 minutes relevant? No, it is not the turnaround time. It is not the SLAs. It is the criticality and the patient empathy and everything. There are lots of things involved. And every cardiac patient does not have the same complexity. One could have one valve blocked, one could have 10 valves blocked, or all the 4 arteries blocked. So there are different people will take different time. So there is no way. So what our measures have to change. So here I would ask NABA, JCI, and all our panelists to look at standards differently. Are our KPIs, are our KRAs making any sense? Is it the waiting time or is it the doctor engagement time? What should we look at? Is it the length of stay or the comfort of stay? You have not come to a resort. Why should you look at comfort of stay? People have to look at length of stay. Doing investigations. People say that how many investigations this doctor does. What's wrong? If they are the right investigations and not doing a check and being overconfident and bullish about something is absolute arrogance. Today's world is a evidence-based medicine, evidence-based thing. People want proof. Like the US, the systems have come. It's not the trust. The trust has to be established with proof. So it's better that before you treat for HIV or even H1B1 or H1N1, it's better to have that proof. One, to have a standard. They could be, who is qualified to practice in this country? an MBBS with MCI registration. That's what the government said. That's the minimum. Now, if to participate in Olympics, you have to run 100 meters in 10 seconds is the standard, everyone is qualified. That's a given. So somebody is running faster, 7 seconds, that doesn't mean you have to pick him up. Somebody runs in 10 seconds. So MBBS doctor is allowed, qualified, and he has got the knowledge base to run that. So let him treat it. So it may be to 1 year doctor or a 20 years experienced doctor, the standards of doing things, the SOP of doing things has to be laid out. That way, if the level playing field is the same, then there is an equalizer. We can compare 5-star, 3-star. Otherwise, we are comparing apples and oranges. Yeah. The rating is not making sense. You can compare a government hospital to a government hospital. You can't compare a government hospital to a private hospital. My colleague here on the panelist is from Cloud9. They are trying to make birthing a lifetime experience, making the wife, husband, mother-in-law all sit there, and the husband allowing the husband to cut the umbilical cord. That means they have got to infumigate, clean that particular room after every delivery, which means a bomb. The amount of sterility and the amount of, because so many people coming, the number of, my architect colleague is here, he would agree, now how many times you have to take out the air? 30 times you have got to evacuate that room, your air handling unit. Versus a normal labor room in the government hospital, you don't even have to have an air handling unit. The cost of HVAC would be not less than few thousands of rupees per day if you have to take out the air out of this room 30 times in an hour. That's the cost. People don't see the air changing. People only see the doctor coming in. That is the cost. There are hidden costs and unseen costs which have to be. So we got to set those standards, then we can compare. 3. We have seen the largest bank in India. SBI was the largest bank in India with the largest real estate, largest number of counters, largest number of branches. That is no more the largest bank in the country. ICICI and other banks have become the largest bank. Do you know why? It was only because of technology. The technology made the difference. So the technology makes a difference. Tomorrow, with the help of technology, the same Andhra University or AIIMS, if they are treating 10,000 patients per week, they will be able to treat 30,000 patients per week if we have the technology. We have got to embrace technology. The speed at which technology works is amazing. The non-value add, the common things, the facilitation, the booking, and all these things, the appointment waiting, and the reporting, we can really cut down the barriers at the speed of light. So technology should be used, and there have to be norms and everything with technology. So every future hospital, existing hospital, have to use technology to the fullest of these things. Third, once we use technology, today, NABH or JCR, the government, is not rating. Cloud9 or some government hospital, say in Andhra Pradesh, is using excellent technology. So is your hospital rated better than other hospital in other state? No. So what is the incentive for Dr. Sudhakar to make the hospital, government hospital, state of the art? He is not getting any credit for that. You make a great NABH certified 5-star hospital, but you are not giving the rating, the people, our customers are not able to see that. So whether it's Ashoka Hotel, a government hospital, or Sheraton, the hotel industry is treating as 5-star. So same thing has to happen even in hospital industry. Whether it's a government hospital or private hospital, you have to have categories. It is public health or, NIMS, and some of them have even got private sectors. So we have got to have different sections of that. So the way of scaling and grading and evaluating hospitals has to change.
This is for you.
I think we have got one more point to cover, engagement. The way we are engaging patients, one-to-one, person-to-person engagement is going to be literally impossible. And we should not, I caution here, some of my colleagues who are international here, WHO, anyone, you please pardon me. India is a country with about 130 crores of population. We look at the West, Europe, US, and Paris, and Canada, and NHS, look at the systems. They don't have a word in the dictionary called crore. When I ask my friends, do you know what's a crore? So what? Crore, C-R-O-R-E. No. So people who do not know what's a crore, how will they understand what is crores? So let's not try. They can't even imagine what is the sheer volume. So let's not try to get some system. We have to get the best practices from there. But the best thing, localization is a very important aspect. It's difficult to imagine for the West, 1 crore of people, 1 billion people. So our economy, our systems have to be seen with a very local kind of an angle. We have to understand that. Last point is satisfaction. Whose satisfaction? Patient satisfaction, doctor satisfaction, hospital satisfaction, or stakeholder satisfaction? Let's assume we have a 4-legged stool here. Any business is sustainable if all the stakeholders are satisfied. Any stool, a 4-legged stool, will be standing still if all the 4 legs are there intact. 1 leg is dropped, that is not sustainable. Patient has to be satisfied, no question about it, has to be satisfied. To satisfy the patient, if you give him discounts and discounts and discounts, he will be happy. What will happen to the stakeholders? Their P&L will be in a loss, they will be able to survive today, their only cash flows will last for 1, 2, 3, 4 months or 2 quarters and they will be doomed. So satisfaction means a different thing. Think about it, patient has to be satisfied, doctor also has to be satisfied, your stakeholder has to be satisfied, the management has to be satisfied. Look at every time when you talk about satisfaction as a 3-legged or 4-legged stool in your context. The customer, the employees. You can ask your employee whom you are paying for 8 hours, make them work for 24 hours. They will last for only 3 months. Your people will leave you. Your employees have to be satisfied. Your customer has to be satisfied. It is a balance. You can give a discount, make him happy, but you will make the management unhappy. The management unhappy, tomorrow there is a version 2 of a defibrillator or a cautery equipment they can't buy. They don't have money, they will not change the air handling unit. They will not repair the AC unit. Instead of washing the washroom, cleaning it every hour, it will become once in 4 hours. Then it will become once in 6 hours. And that's why what happens to that. So customer satisfaction, look at it. Don't say customer satisfaction. Let's call stakeholder satisfaction. That will give a very balanced view. Thank you.
Thank you. Question, Q&A? So do we have any questions for our panelists?
Wonderful moderation.
For the various points. Yeah, so can we get a hand mic over there? Or just take this one?
One question to all the panel members so that we'll have all the perspectives about a fast emerging theme on the user-driven module as it is. So uncertain customer or unhappy customer is going to have check another thing. So one of the fast emerging themes is the second opinion. So any things about standardizing the second opinion format or the practical issues, difficulties, how to ego issues, clarity. So view of everyone, because that's one theme from the user end. So we have all different members handling different segments regarding the issue. I am Dr. Gopichan, thank you. And for the founders of the organization, the infrastructure, fantastic thing to hear about the report of coming up in 162 days. Tonight it will be ready. By tomorrow evening something will be ready. It was so refreshing. So cheers to the members who have put the infrastructure, Jitendra Sharma and all. So the views of all the panel members on the issue of second opinion.
Fantastic question. And let me put it in the context. There is some medical oath all the medical professionals, take, that they know what they know, they don't know what they don't know. And at any point of time, even in the middle of the surgery, if they have a doubt, they will not hesitate to call another doctor or a specialist. And that is something this particular medical community does that. They take help of the others. And our legal and framework and as a society as the whole thing, the second opinion is something which everyone should do, but we should do it with caution. Let me talk from the patient side what they do and also take the side of the doctors. Let me take both the views. Number one, as a patient, we are confused. What no? We want to take a second opinion before going through a surgery or something very serious. Absolutely, we should do it. We should not leave it with one. We should go to two. But what the patient doesn't do is, he does not disclose to the doctor or the surgeon that he is taking a second. They hide the papers and say that, and it is a quiz and a viva most of the time. Let me figure out, can you figure out what I am? Without telling me, you're saying, tell me what's in my body. You are a doctor, you've got to figure out. Yes, he is a doctor, she is a doctor. He is no magician, he is no God. And most of the doctors back, you would say that we treat, he cures. Doesn't matter which religion come from. That is what it is. So if the customers and the patients play transparent, doctors would be transparent. Today it has become a very suspicious world. Patients are not trusting the doctor, and actually they are doing a viva or a quizzing of that. That's actually leading to the thing. Say, this is the one, I'm going for a second opinion. Go to any doctor right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari or Calcutta to Gujarat. You ask, I want to take a second opinion. No doctor would say that, no, you can't take. Absolutely. And as a patient, they should take all the history. What patients do it, they are. Today, for example, you have all your certificates right from 10th class birth certificate and everything. You buy a property, you have all the papers. But when it comes to medical care, you have taken your last year, you have done your checkup, nobody goes. You go empty-handed to the doctor. What happened to your last surgery? Sir. Whitewashing, transferring, you will hear 100 reasons, 1,000 reasons. So that is what I see in the medical management profession. There is a big gap between the trust between the patients and the medical systems. And the medical community, yes, they could be defensive because they are being used, and what get played against them, we don't know. So if transparency and that can be inculcated, I think they will play that. But now I will leave it to the doctor himself to answer that question.
We're out of time. We're out of time.
Yeah. Now he says it's over. But thank you. We can discuss outside. Probably Gopi, we can discuss this separately.
So sorry to interrupt, but we are completely
You can take that question offline.
We should take it offline, yes, because we are already 15 minutes overdue. But nonetheless, we thank you all very much for coming and spending time with us this afternoon and sharing your insight and experience with us. And can we please hear it for our panelists? And of course, as a token of our appreciation, we would like to hand all of you a memento as well. And for this, I would like to request a man whom you referenced quite a bit during the course of this panel discussion, Dr. Chandrasekhar, a chief architect and a highly renowned architect in the healthcare space, to please come on the stage and hand over a memento to each one of our panelists. Starting, of course, with Mr. Rajshekhar Janapredi, our moderator.
You've done wonderful, sir.
Then we have Dr. Umain John. Mr. Chaitanya Shravant. Dr. Kashipa Harit. And of course, finally, Dr. P.V. Sudhakar. And so while our panelists are posing for the photo shoot, one point that was repeated quite frequently was the need to create an ambience. The space of the hospital, within the hospital, needs to have such a healthy, vibrant ambience that really appeals to patients, but they're not really patients, they're more of customers. So we need to start changing it from a patient-centric approach to a customer-centric approach and changing our space that way. So how do we create a space that has got that wow ambience? It so happens that our next presentation deals with precisely this topic, creating a healthy space. And this is going to be, the presenter is going to be Mr. Trideep Ojha from our partner Saint Gobain.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is this my thing?
So while we're doing the microphone setting up, just to let you know, Saint Gobain, our partner, is going to deals with a whole range of products, gypsum boards, glass, a whole range of things, and it's all about creating an atmosphere in your space that is appealing, posh to a certain extent, to a large extent, and something that will really attract and appeal to not just patients, but to people overall. So that's what Mr. Trideep Ojha will be speaking about. And this is these are the kind of products that can be used not only in hospitals, but in any kind of project, whether it's a hospital or any kind of building. So Mr. Ojha, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot. I've got this. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
So, good evening. I think there are two things which I would like to say. First, on the last topic, user-driven transformation of healthcare. Thanks, Dr. Reddy and the panelists, you have made my life easy. Because a lot of things you have already covered, but I think I'll try to give it a new aspect. And I am from a that this is not a products presentation, we keep on doing it. If anyone wants to have a look at our product solutions, I have my team here. They are there for 2 idea here is to talk about healing space. My idea here is about to talk about user. My idea here is about to talk about experience. And what I want to take you through here is a very important thing on how hospitals have evaluated.
Madam.
Then moved on to large multi-specialty hospitals. And then now we are an era where we are talking about user comfort, user experience, and we are talking of luxury healthcare. So the evolution of hospitals has been across, and the way the journey experience mean? We talked a lot about that in the last panel discussion, and I'll not impinge much upon that, but for us, I am talking of what does a patient go through in a hospital. It's about acoustic environment, it's about indoor air quality, it's about uncomfortable humidity, it's about bad natural light or ventilation, it's also about how they are treated by the staff. And finally, what it impacts is their sleep. What it impacts is overall is the productivity of the staff, and finally their recovery time. I think this is where the user experience has to move. So one of the very important things in this are the various comforts which are there as far as the user experience are concerned. This user experience comforts is what I'll be talking of. And let me just take you through can I play the video, please?
Sound. Okay. No worries. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Are you serious? That is amazing! Wait, you're joking. Really? Tell me more. I can't believe this.
Let's face it, our hospital is a busy place with lots of noises and interruptions every day.
It's fourth down, and it looks short from here.
Some noises and interruptions are necessary for care.
I'm Heather. I'm here to draw your blood.
You're the man! No man, you're the man.
Hospital is a busy place with lots of noises and interruptions every day.
It's fourth down, and it looks short from here.
Some noises and interruptions are necessary for care.
I'm Heather. I'm here to draw your blood.
You're the man! No man, you're the man.
Hospital is a busy place with lots of noises and interruptions every day.
It's fourth down, and it looks short from here.
Some noises and interruptions are necessary for care.
I'm Heather. I'm here to draw your blood.
You're the man! No man, you're the man.
reduces the allergies. It also helps in a better public relationships, and it also reduces the absenteeism of staff, drowsiness, reduced eye, nose and throat irritation. So these are the major two comforts. So one is acoustics, second is your indoor air, but there are also other comforts. So one of the comforts which is there is the temperature variation which happens in a hospital. So there are different spaces in a hospital. So there is a doctor's room, there is a waiting area, there is a OPD, there is IPD, there are passages, and everywhere you need to maintain a very, very ambient comfort level. And with the location of the hospital, the climate, achieving this sweet spot becomes a big challenge, a very big challenge. And there is where the entire challenge lies in terms of designing hospitals with the exact thermal comfort, where materials will play a very important role apart from the other things. The fourth thing nowadays, we talked about that the patient wants to feel good. He wants a good experience. So the environment of visual comfort, which is very important as far as the glare, daylighting is concerned, and how does he see outside his room, how much light he has inside his room, and how much does he have exposure to nature is very, very important. It's research says that a patient whose windows overlook the room, his recovery time is faster. These are all research, these are all studies, and their recovery time becomes faster. The lighting levels play a very important role. Another thing which is very important is colors. So in a room, there are some colors which really make a patient lively, bright, engaged. But there are colors which also dampen him. So colors schemes also plays a very, very important role. The fifth thing which is there and which is really coming out now in a lot of hospitals is the ability to give biophilic design. This is the greenery and plants, which normally a lot of hospitals do around in the overall campus or in the rooms and all, and how they play an important role in terms of pain relieving, stress relieving, boosting the energy, and bringing about the professionalism and productivity. So if I look at all this, all these elements of acoustic comfort, indoor air quality, thermal comfort, visual comfort, giving an impetus to the biophilic design, all these elements are there to meant for a better patient comfort and user experience. And all these elements are individual, but what is required from us as manufacturers and from our prominent consultants, architects, and all the team which is working in the healthcare industry and the stakeholders, as they say, is to create a design thinking approach towards patient experience and comfort, which will really take this industry to a very different level. What do I mean by design thinking? Design thinking means that if I look at a particular hospital, these are the various parameters which are there as far as the comforts are concerned, and how important and how mandatory they are in terms of the visual comfort, the thermal comfort, the indoor air, the hygiene, or probably the overall acoustic comfort. And in all the areas of hospitals, how important they are and what is the criticality for each element. On the similar lines, acoustics. Clearly, the need is to look at design-free hospitals, because acoustics is playing a very, very important role as far as the overall behavior of the patients, as far as the overall behavior of the staff, and finally, the factors relating to a user experience is concerned. And this is a small map talking of how much, which acoustics is important. So this is data. Apart from this, I talked about thermal comfort. It's very important to have different temperature zones for different areas. And what I talked about in the beginning of my presentation was a sweet spot. How do I reach that sweet spot is very, very important. Obviously, we talked about visual lighting, visual comfort for daylighting and glare. And there, I think, different elements and different spaces of hospitals will require this to be looked at. Colors I talked of, there are some good colors which also create a lot of calming and relaxing feeling. The different colors which improve the overall healing time, productivity, make a patient more vibrant. So this is one more area. So this is as far as the comfort is concerned. And being from a building material industry, it's important that I also put a slide of a building material industry. I think while we have all started from the building material industry to make some strides toward user experience and comfort, but we still feel there is a long way to go. There are companies which are giving solutions related to thermal comfort, whether you look at HVAC, glass, UPVC windows. There are companies which are looking at visual comfort, paints, you look at lighting, glass. There are companies who are looking at acoustic comfort, where we give our ceilings and partitions. There is also fans, pipes, absorptive wall coverings. There are companies who are also giving a lot of things are happening on indoor air, especially with the Delhi kind of scenario. Indoor air has gained a lot of traction now. And there we have got these VOC paints, air conditioned, HVAC talking about it. So we from Saint-Gobain clearly feel that multi-comfort solutions and design thinking are the need for our. When I mean multi-comfort solutions, what I mean integration of all the comforts in terms of an overall solution that we can give by really showcasing on what are the comfort levels and what we want to achieve. And there I think Saint-Gobain, with the help, Saint-Gobain Group, with the help of its Saint-Gobain Research Center, is doing an initial thought process on how to take this multi-comfort positioning ahead, where we go and do the testing of the comfort levels of existing and new buildings, and we give them a multi-comfort solution with products and solutions backed by data, backed totally by a building physics in terms of why are we giving this. So this is an thing we are doing. On the acoustic level, our products of gypsum ceilings, partitions, absorptive wall coverings, and on the indoor air quality, we also have a solution, the low VOC plasterboard solutions. We also have solutions into fire, acoustic fire, and sustainability. So the idea today in my presentation was why I told is healing spaces was to probably take you through a user experience and what all role different stakeholders can play apart from the manufacturers. So let's bring to the hospital spaces the comfort and joy of well-being and a better quality experience. Thank you. I would. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ojha. As you promised, it wasn't really a product presentation, but an insightful presentation onto the building science and building physics, as you put it. So very insightful and quite an eye-opener, and I think a lot of takeaways for all of us. So thank you very much for that. Our next presentation, before we head into a short break and then we delve into the meetings, it will be from Mr. Harshal Narula from MedFresh, which is also our platinum partner for the initiative today. So Mr. Harshal Narula will be speaking today about protecting health. What do we need to do to protect health? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harshal Narula.
You want to say something? Yeah. Sorry? Okay. I'll just put that. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, there was a technological issue, so we were just trying to sort that out. My name is Harshal Narula. I am from MedFresh. MedFresh is a UNG company. Can we have the presentation now? Sorry, I'll just... Right. So sorry for the technological glitch. I think we're talking about smart healthcare, but sometimes we lack some other smartness that we're supposed to have. Anyways, so just a little brief about UNG. UNG was formed in 1953. It's a 65-year-old group, primarily into healthcare. We are based in more than 50 countries with 5 organizations under the UNG banner. We have a global presence, as I mentioned, in about 50 countries, covering Asia, Africa, Middle East, and the CIS countries. Now, when I talk about smart healthcare the UNG way, we are talking about technologies and solutions which actually go into a hospital, which make, of course, the patient environment, sustainable, but also help the paramedic staff and the users of the particular hospital to actually enhance not just the patient care, but also the results of that particular patient care. Some of the technologies and the solutions that, as a group, that we offer is CSSD, which is sterilization systems, the heart of a hospital, I would say. We really recommend that CSSD should be a proper 3-zone CSSD, also recommended by NABH, wherein proper airflow is maintained for all the 3 departments, for all the 3 zones which are there in a CSSD. UNG is right now building India's largest CSSD, which is in AIIMS, New Delhi. Some of the components which go into CSSD are steam sterilizers, washers, low temperature sterilization systems, trace care, which is a tracing software which actually monitors the entire components which are in the CSSD and at what particular stage are they at right now. Modular operation theaters, ICUs or emergency rooms is another concept leading from nosocomial infection, which is the secondary infection which is achieved in a hospital. So catering to those, modular operation theaters, ICUs, and emergency rooms are created. Biomedical waste is a big issue in terms of hospitals are concerned when I'm talking about infection. Proper treatment system of this biomedical waste, which is fatal in nature, is very important. It is very important that proper disinfection of this waste is achieved before this waste actually leaves the hospital. Medical gas pipeline systems are used in a hospital today, wherein oxygen and other gases from the large size hospitals that we have. So from one place it reaches to another place through a pipeline system, and we don't have to see those cylinders being carried away in the wards or in the ICUs. Pneumatic tube systems is a delivery transportation system. It's a system in which samples, medicines, blood bags, or IV bags are transported from one place to another within a hospital through a pneumatic tube system, through a network of pipeline, transporting material from one place to another through the pressure of air, which is pneumatics. The main focus of my presentation today is pneumatics, of course, but pneumatics not for sample transportation or material transportation, but particularly for waste and for laundry transportation. Now, this is a new concept in India. We introduced this about 6 years ago. Pneumatic, of course, we are doing in India for the last 14 years. But pneumatic waste and laundry collection system we introduced about 6 years ago in India, wherein we understood the hospitals, being in industry for such a long time, we understood that this antiquated system of transportation and collection of waste or laundry, which is, as I mentioned earlier, is even fatal in nature, is being used. There's a very antiquated system of either gravity chutes or elevators or manual collection through carts and tippers, which is being used as of today in the majority of the hospitals in India. Now, if you see your screen, you'll see a conventional system, how it looks. wherein you will see that the waste is actually collected manually through either stairs or through lifts, and it is brought down vertically and then horizontal transportation through carts. Now, not this include manpower, but this also increases the exposure of this waste, this highly infected waste, to the environment, to the paramedic staff, and also to the visitors who are coming to the hospital to greet their fellow members. Now, this further enhances the nosocomial infection that we have been talking about to a very large extent. Excuse me. The disadvantages of the system: odor being a big issue, impact to the humans through contact or through exposure of the environment, visibility of the waste or the dirty laundry through corridors and, as we say, the prime areas of a hospital. It's a very unhygienic system which creates air pollution and cross-contamination through the entire space that it is going through. Now, as I mentioned, pneumatics is basically a force of air that we use to transport material from one place to another. This is how a pneumatic waste collection system looks like. It's a network of pipeline which is running down multiple buildings. Let's say if a hospital has one building or maybe 5 buildings. It's a network of pipeline which is running vertically and horizontally through the entire space of that particular infrastructure. And it is leading to a central collection area. Now, in a scenario that you see on your screen, there are 3 buildings and you see 2 vertical pipelines. One is red and one is blue. One pipeline is for waste and one pipeline is for laundry. We will have loading stations on each floor, very similar to opening of a lift, which is there on each floor. And the waste will be thrown in that particular opening, which will be horizontally and then vertically and then horizontally sucked at speeds of 100 kilometers an hour, which is about 25 meters per second. There will be pneumatic pressure, which will lead to a central collection area. Now, this central collection area can even be 5 kilometers away. So if we're talking of a very large complex, wherein multiple buildings are there, numerous buildings are there, all those buildings can be connected to one central location. So what we are basically going to do is eradicate the complete manpower required for transportation or collection of this waste. The carts, the tippers and the trolleys required to transport this waste from each floor to a central collection point will be completely eradicated. This is how a pneumatic system will look like, where it's a completely sealed system. There is no exposure of the waste or the dirty laundry to the environment, to the people, the paramedic staff. It's a system which is available 24/7. So we will actually not have to wait for somebody to come and empty our dustbins or take our laundry out. It's a system which is available in access 24 hours. As I mentioned, it moves at about 100 kilometers an hour. That's about 60 miles an hour. There is absolutely no risk for transportation of waste through this system. There is no labor required, and we never have to see the waste again. This is how we have vertical risers of each building. Now, what you see is 2 vertical risers. They can be 10 vertical risers or they can be 100 vertical risers. When I say vertical risers, I mean 100 buildings, which can be connected vertically and horizontally through a network of pipeline, wherein the waste can be transported to the central location. A few advantages that I would like to point out is that there is absolutely no odor with this system. Now, when we're talking about a gravity chute system, which is a big nuisance in any infrastructure, be it a hospital or a residential setup, wherein there is a lot of odor, rodents and insects which come through a system. This system, being completely sealed system, eradicates odor or rodents or infection from the entire system. Automation comes into the picture, and segregation becomes a part of the entire workflow of every day that we have, because this system actually segregates the waste that we have into as many as options that we require. which is done automatically. A few applications of pneumatic tube system.